Jonathan Overby, host of the radio show Higher Ground with Jonathan Overby, world music with African roots and more on Wisconsin Public Radio. Thank you so much for doing this interview for Radio Waves.
Well, I'm excited to talk with you.
Yes. In talking with you to set up this interview, I came to realize very quickly that your life is really dedicated to music. It's your work here at Wisconsin Public Radio as the host of Higher Ground, it's your PhD studies that you're currently doing, and it's your hobbies. You conduct a choir and a big band ensemble outside of work. I'm guessing that there's a story behind your connection to music.
Well, there really is. It's been a mission of mine to take the gifts that I perhaps inherited from my grandparents. My grandmother was a concert singer who traveled the country singing. My grandfather sang in his church choir, and so I come from pretty good stock in that way. And early on I had this idea that singing just one style of music as a singer, as a student working on my undergraduate at San Francisco State, that I wanted to do more with the music than just perform it. I wanted to really understand and know the people that create music, the people who created the music that I was holding hands with. And so it really became important to me to investigate what's behind the notes, what's behind the inflections, the poetry, all of the crafting that went into pieces that I was required to perform. And so from there, it really took off. I began to want and I had a desire to learn more about various kinds of music, not just some of the great Eurocentric composers, but composers that come from my own heritage, both African and Indian. So I started to dig, and it took me a while to figure out how to bring them all together at the same table setting and to celebrate them as though they were all welcomed to that setting in an inclusive way. And I think I finally found that with Higher Ground. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty convinced I have.
And that ties in to what you just described about learning more about the music and the Higher Ground show. This past winter, you took a trip to the island of Zanzibar off the coast of East Africa for a world music festival. And having heard you talk about that a little bit, I sense that it changed your life on a personal level and also the show. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Well, you used the word change. It was transformative. I mean, I got there and right away I didn't look like the locals pretty clear. They could tell by my clothing and when I would talk and my sort of rough attempt to speak Kiswahili. I mean, they knew pretty quickly that I was a visitor. But they welcomed me in a way that reminded me of a son or a daughter who's gone off and finally come home. They would say, "Karibu, brother," and that word means welcome. And it was said in a way that wasn't as though I was just a tourist. It was said in a way that was sincere. And I heard it from cab drivers, I heard it from people at the airport, from people in the restaurant. And it was so affirming and touched me in a way that I had never ever been touched before, having traveled to Cuba and to South America, all through Europe, and of course all across this country. This was the first time I had had an experience in which I felt as though I was reconnecting with something out of my ethnic past that I had never connected with before. And what it ended up doing was giving me a sense of great respect for the ancient history of the people that create music that I play on the show in a different way. I now have, and glean from that trip, ideas about what it takes to make music. That music is often connected to food and to dance and to daily activities, work, love, hate, just like a typical country song. I mean, it's been a wonderful learning experience for me going there.
And speaking of food, what was your favorite dish while you were over there? What did you discover over there?
Well, my favorite food was a fruit called shoki shoki, and there's actually a song about this fruit, and it's grows just along the roads, and it's amazing to be in a place where it's like paradise. I mean, things are growing along the road, and people are grabbing fruits and mangoes and pineapple and watermelon and some of the local things that I couldn't even pronounce the names of, that they were eating and having every day to sustain themselves. And it was powerful. And so when I got this fruit called shoki shoki, it's got an outer shell like a weird kind of baseball with little nodules on it. And you go inside that, you have to break inside, I should say, and inside is sort of a sphere with this gooey seed inside, covered in this wonderful fruit that I couldn't get enough of. And when I would walk around with this, like a bouquet of flowers, people would ask for it. Could they have one? And so I would give them one. The kids loved it, and cab drivers loved it, because it's the favorite fruit, and evidently I guess it's expensive if you have to go and buy it at the market. So that was my favorite.
Nice. Another thing that I learned from speaking with you to set up this interview is that you think big. What are your next big plans for connecting the people and the music and higher ground in your audience?
You mentioned the word big. It gets me into trouble more than it does anything else. But one of the things I want to see the show do is to draw people together, different communities, diverse groups together, for a chance to celebrate how, yes, different we are, but how uniquely similar we are in terms of many aspects of life. And that's sort of a thumbnail idea about the importance of understanding each other. And that's really the big picture for me, is to see the music that I play on the show give those who can't travel to places far away from home a chance to connect with the music from whatever experiences they've had in life personally. So if they connect with the historical part of the music, great. If they just want to dance to it or just reflect on it, that's great. The most, I think, edifying piece is when they have a sense of the people in the people who create the music, when they identify with those people in the setting in which they authored the music. That is the greatest compliment, I think, that anyone could give me or the artist that actually created the music. So that's really the big picture. Of course, I do have some ideas to take the show around the state of Wisconsin periodically and do some
We're
remote broadcasts.
We're going to start with that in July.
In July,
right?
that's
July
right.
17th at the Memorial Union Terrace in Madison. You're going to do the show live.
Under the stars.
Under the stars.
Yes.
And then you'll try to set up some more things like that in other parts of the state.
That's right. I'm looking forward to people actually being there in front of me with the music playing, dancing.
Yeah.
I hope you're one of them.
I will be.
Wonderful, good. I'll look for you in the crowd. And to see the mix of people, young and older, dancing together, having a good time together. Because that's the way it is in many parts of the world, where grandmas dance with their granddaughters and grandsons. Everybody's a part of the celebration. It isn't just college students or faculty or academic staff like us. It's everybody having a good time together and celebrating each other's experiences musically. So I hope that happens out there, and I hope the weather holds nice.
Really looking forward to that. One final question, Jonathan. I have to ask, what's the story with the bow ties? And I have to say, we didn't know we were going to do this video interview today, and you just happen to be wearing a bow tie. I suppose that's not too surprising. You do often wear bow ties. Do you tie them yourself? And what do you...
That's an industry secret, whether I tie or don't tie. I can't divulge that. But I'll tell you the history of it. I started wearing bow ties when I was 2 years old, and my mother and father insisted that I wear a bow tie all the time. And I hated it because, I took a little heat from kids. But I would wear bow ties with shorts. And my parents just thought it was important for me to look well. And, after high school, I kind of got used to wearing them in a way that I didn't feel geekish or silly or, so I enjoy wearing them now. But I actually have a photograph. Perhaps one day I'll pull it out. Black and white photograph of me in shorts, a nice white hat, with a sport coat on, and flashy bow ties. So I do enjoy them and have quite a collection. I love the ones that are vintage bow ties mostly, the ones that are hard to find, and you find them in resale shops and that kind of thing. But that's the history.
And you're even holding the bow tie
yes.
mug, if you'd hold that up.
Yeah, that's my...
Amazing.
Yeah, it is. Well, there you go.
Jonathan, thank you so much for
You're
this
welcome.
interview.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.